Now, just in terms of it does renewable energy lending and the kind of returns it has given is very, very stellar. Let me bring on board both our experts to talk about the stock in focus. We have Shahina Mukaddam, independent market expert, and we have Kush Bora, founder, kushbora.com. Thank you for joining us. And let me start with Shahina. Shahina, first off, good morning. Tell us your view with regard to this one, because it's been such a rank outperformer. It's given such solid returns. Can it continue to do so, or are we going to see a sideways movement, or do you expect that this looks slightly overvalued?
Yeah, actually, I do think it looks a bit overvalued. It looks expensive if you're looking at maybe the next couple of months, maybe two to 4 quarters, given the fact that you yourself have pointed out that the price to book is 8 times. So it is on the higher side for an NBFC. Another thing is that what was expected that, renewable energy lending would be given special concessions in the budget, which didn't come across. So actually, it remains in a consolidation phase in my view. But if you look at the very long term, it looks decent because as you pointed out, they're targeting 25% growth. They have achieved a 30% growth. So 25% definitely looks achievable. They've got a very strong, loan book on hand. So things are positive in terms of even the quality of balance sheet. NPAs, net NPAs are very low. But given the expensive valuations, I believe it will consolidate for some time.
Okay, let me go across to Kush. Kush, your views with regard to technicals. This one's, just gone from strength to strength here.
Well, hi Hersh. First up, hi Shaina. Very encouraging move, I must say. Despite your concerns and Shaina's concerns of overvaluation, I think the stock has actually seen a fair bit of consolidation. It might look like a sharp dip from those 300, 310 levels all the way down till 230. But I think the rise was much sharper. So anything in that context actually looks like profit booking. Plus, if you see in the last 15 to 20 odd days, almost about a month, there was consolidation and the fall was actually decelerating and the volumes were thinning, suggesting that there were the exhaustion in terms of the sellers was clearly visible. Now 235 is a very strong level where the stocks made a base. With the kind of move that it's made today, it's crossed the 20-day moving average as well. The volumes have come back. I think this is a very encouraging sign. It's had its share of whatever limited time correction the stocks are used to in a market like this. It's also had price correction. I think it's time to perhaps consider a long position on this. Positionally, 235 is your stop loss. On the upside, now you're looking at 295 and the recent highs of 310 as your target. So if someone wants to go into this one positionally, you should consider it. Keep a stop loss at 235.
Okay, the first query today is from Sumit, who's from Doha, Qatar. He's asking that he's holding Ashapuri Gold and Ornaments, 8,000 units at 9.7. He wants a 1-year view for this particular stock. At present, his loss is roughly 6.5K. Shaina, I'll come to you with this one. Your view on the stock.
Well, it's a very small cap stock. And, there's not much to, say in terms of fundamentals. But yes, it looks like, it is likely to move up slightly from here. So if one is holding, one can continue to hold, but it's a very small cap stock.
Hey, let me stick with you. Talk to us about DCB Bank, because we have Srinivas. He holds around 200 shares of DCB Bank at 107 rupees a piece. Roughly 3,000 rupee is the amount of profit he's making. So talk to us about what you feel is the medium to long term outlook on DCB.
Well, DCB Bank is, it performs fairly okay. At the same time, I believe in the shorter term, given the fact that the first quarter numbers also were okay, but not, in terms of growth in line with what was expected. So I would believe that, better quality stock compared to DCB Bank would be a federal bank, though I have been personally holding a small quantity of DCB for a very long time from very low levels. So I'm not saying it has not performed, but it has underperformed the overall market and especially the private sector banks. in the smaller private sector bank space. So I would say that instead of DCB Bank, better to go in for a federal bank.
The next question is from Kamal, who's from Bengaluru. He's asking whether this is the right time to buy Sona BLW. At present, roughly, the price is at 689.5. Kush, I'll come to you for this one, whether it's the right time to buy Sona BLW or not.
Sure. So depends on the horizon. If it's slightly medium term, then perhaps yes, you can consider, because the stock is in an uptrend for sure from a medium term perspective. Just that in the near term, the stock seen a sharp round of profit booking and then is consolidating. Although since it's above the averages, we'll have to say that the bias is positive, but there's a very clear consolidation pattern that is visible on this one. So my suggestion, if you're in this for anywhere from 3 to 6 months, then perhaps you could consider an entry. Your targets in that case will be 730 and 770, and the support comes in at the 50-day moving average, close to about 665 level. So the risk reward ratio is favorable. You just might have to be a little patient with this one.
Okay, Shaina, let me come back to you. Rajesh Maheshwari from Indore, he has a query with regard to PNB Housing Finance. Now, so many things happening within PNB Housing. There's been such a large rejig. He's bought around 150 shares at an average price of 751. Wants your outlook from a short to medium term perspective, because the way in which the stock has moved has been sharp, and he's sitting on some pretty profits on his investment.
I suggest, even though the stock has performed, you continue to hold at current levels. The valuations are extremely interesting, just about 1.5 times book. It's in a good, interesting space in terms of housing. And I think the overhang of the stock has also gone. So even for the shorter term, medium term, longer term, in my view, it's a hold.
Okay, and Kush, because there's so much interest in this one and the move has been so strong, I want your view as well. What should one do for a stock like this?
In a way, Hersh, I'm so glad you came to me, as well for this one, because my view is also extremely positive on this. The stocks had a fair bit of consolidation, and now it's given that breakout. I agree completely with Shaina that you should continue to hold on to this one. Since you're in a profit, you should perhaps put a trailing stop loss in place. But other than that, I think the stock is in a good stead. And in the financial services space, if you see, the banks aren't really performing as well just yet. But the housing finance space is seeing quite a bit of traction. This one being one of the leading names, I think will gain more traction. So I think we should continue to hold on positionally. I'm looking at a 920 as well, in the coming months.
Okay, we'll stick with the BFSI space. The next question is from Anish Tiwari. He's holding around 500 Yes Bank shares, and he bought it at 26 a piece. So right now his loss is roughly 750 rupees. And he's asking whether he should hold it or he should hold it for a longer time. He should hold it for a longer time, or he should just sell it off. Kush, I'll come to you with this query.
No, I want to really understand if this is more of an emotional trade, because, a lot of retail investors, at least, or even HNS for that matter, have been in Yes Bank with a lot of hope. I don't think you should continue holding on to this one. It's shown, bouts of spurts, but then they fizzled out equally fast. So I don't think, this is one stock that, that you should be in the banking space. There are a lot of other names, China's already mentioned Federal Bank. Let me add one more, Karur Vysya Bank. This is one that, has had a stellar run. If you see in the last year, even two, the trajectory is upwards. It's not really been affected by the kind of moves that the overall banking sector is seeing. So I think if you want to switch, you might want to consider this one. For me, Yes Bank is a sell, and a switch to a Karur Vysya Bank is, more advisable.
Okay, switch to Karur Vysya is what Kush is advising. Now, we'll switch focus, BFSI to power. We have Sulochana from Visakhapatnam. She holds 1,000 shares in NHPC at 98 rupees a piece. Now, this one has had a stellar run, right? And let me come to you on this one. Our fundamental analyst for Shahina, let me come to you on this one. Apologies for that. This one has had an outstanding run. You've seen this stock double over the last 12 months. Talk to us about where does this go from here? What should Sulochana do?
Well, I think, they're having some problems in Sikkim because of the deluge that happened over there recently. So, and it is not a cheap stock. In price to book, it's about 2.5 times. So I would suggest, Sulochna, if you want to hold, you can continue to hold, but keep a stop loss. And otherwise, you can switch. There are a lot of other power stocks that are doing pretty well as of now. You can also switch to something like a Tata Power. You can switch to something like in renewable energy. You can switch to some of the power stocks over there.
Okay, thank you so much, Aina. Let's slip into a very short break. Keep sending in your queries, number flashing at the bottom of your screen. And we'll, of course, answer those. We'll start taking those on the other side of this very short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit here on NDTV Profit. Let's quickly continue taking queries. Vishaka has bought 60 shares of Bharti Airtel at 868 rupees a piece. Shahina, let me come to you. Should Vishaka sell at this point? She's sitting on a very pretty profit of nearly 40,000 rupees. Sell half holding, sell full holding. Just give us your views.
No, I think she should keep the full holding. It's definitely a hold. In fact, you can keep buying, in my view, at any dips that you get. Even Bharti Hexaware looks good at current levels. They are adding consumers, they are adding subscribers. So definitely it's a hold.
Okay, the next question is from Arun Nair. He wants an outlook from Angel One. Shaina, I think I'll come to you again for this one.
I think Angel One has gone through the difficult phase that it had in the last couple of months, and having stabilized, I think it is looking good from here on. While there may be some small dip in profitability for a brief period, the growth may come off. I think the prospects are very strong. It's one of the best in the category, so one can continue to hold.
Okay, Kush, let me come to you on a technical view. SK Jakhar, he holds 100 shares of Tata Motors at 1126. Special situation. Plus, the stock move, at least over the last year, had been very, very strong. Thereafter, there's been a period of consolidation. What should he do at this point?
Well, assuming that he can hold this for let's say a couple of months, he should continue to. After the sharp run up, the stock actually given way. Now it's consolidating. It's barely holding above its 20-day moving average, just about. But the volumes are thinning on the way down, which is encouraging. So there is a possibility that the stock might consolidate for some time before it begins that up move. In any case, on the downside, there's a strong support zone at 1050 levels. So if the stock does in fact break that, he should exit. If not, continue to hold. There's a possibility that he might see the stock revive. If not exit in profit, at least have a much lesser loss than he is sitting at currently.
Okay, and Kush, we have Jitendra Singh from Haryana. He holds 1,000 shares of Edelweiss Financial at 61 rupees a piece. Wants to know what he should do. He's sitting on, again, a very pretty profit of 35,000 plus.
Well, the suggestion for Jitendra here would be to keep a trailing stop loss at about 93 levels. The stock had a vertical rise. So, the kind of mild profit booking that we are seeing today is perhaps on expected lines. But, the stock's gone up on very strong volumes. I think, after this, small round of profit booking is over, there's a possibility that the stock could continue this run up and move, even perhaps to 105 and 115 kind of zones. So continue holding, but just keep a trailing stop loss in place in case there's volatility and the stock sees a sharper round of profit booking. Then you might want to take some money home.
Okay, Coach, I'll stick with you for the next question. The next question is from Ishita. She's holding 101 shares of Prestige Estate Projects, and she bought it at 1,843, and now it's at roughly 1,734. She has approximate loss of roughly 11,000. So should she hold it or sell it?
Well, I'm actually very tempted to say hold, but it's actually broken below some of the key technical levels, right? So my suggestion is that if you want to give it another, let's say couple of months, then you could hold it with a stop loss at 1690. So I'm just going to go with a hold because the stock is consolidating right now, and there's a possibility that it might bounce back. The reason I was skeptical is because there was a support zone at 1760, which the stock has just broken today and it's trading below that. But just to give some hope to the stock at least, and to the trader as well, 1690 is where you place your stop loss. If that is broken out, then perhaps the stock could go into a bit of a tizzy on the downside. Right now, what we are seeing is a consolidation with a negative bias. So hold 1690 is your stop loss. You might see some kind of revival in the next couple of months.
Shaina, let me come to you. We have Jai Krishnan from Kozhikode who's wanting to know whether it's the right time to buy InterGlobe Aviation. Now, this stock has been in focus since the morning. It's up nearly 3% as well. A slew of brokerage notes, very, very positive on this one. Your views?
Well, they did extremely well in the first quarter numbers that we saw. And with crude oil prices at around, just around hovering around $75, $77, I think it's a positive for them because their main cost comes from the main cost is fuel. At the same time, I would say keep a stop loss because airline stocks historically have not, given you great return over the long-term period compared to the rest of the market. So keep a stop loss and you can continue to hold.
Okay, the next question is from Srinivas. He's asking to advise whether to hold or sell IDFC First Bank. He's holding 250 shares at 92 a piece, and roughly his loss is 4,000 right now. Kush, I'll come to you on this one.
Not a big fan. The stock's not been a wealth creator, for a while now. It's just that right now, as we speak, for the last 3-4 sessions, the stock actually is in an uptrend. So my suggestion, just to reduce your loss, give it some chance and hold with a stop loss of 72. But then you might want to keep exiting at, slightly higher levels of, let's say, 80, 85. The stock might take a long time before it sees that 92 level. So my suggestion, ride the recent move that has begun, but keep exiting even if it is at a loss of a few percentage points.
We're taking the most interesting queries last. So we have Chandra, who's holding Zomato shares at 265 rupees a piece. Wants to know whether he should hold or sell. Shahina, I'm going to come to you first on this one, and thereafter I'm going to go to Kush as well, because this one is, of course, in the thick of things today. So both Zomato as well as Paytm, your quick views.
I would say hold on a Zomato and exit on a Paytm. Zomato, because it has acquired, their some business from Paytm, 2,000 crore business. I think the potential for growth is high because they've got over 7 million of their users on which they can actually use to increase the business out there. And Paytm, I would say exit. Okay,
so Paytm exit. Let me come to you, Kush, on charts. Paytm has been such a strong performer. Last 3 months, 50% returns. Do you expect more outperformance to come from here in terms of how you're viewing it? And of course, Zomato, if you can give us your views.
Sure, but Hersh, if we talk about Paytm, then I think about last 6 to 8 months, the stock is still 50% down. So that's the kind of moves that we've seen on the stock, and has been fairly volatile. If you're starting afresh, if you're taking a fresh view from here on, then yes, I will side by your view, which is that the stock seen a stellar run. On the chart, it's above all its medium term, long term averages, which is suggesting at least that in the near term the up move could continue. So if you're looking at this from a near-term trade perspective, then yes, Paytm does become a buy. The risk-reward ratio is also fairly favorable with the kind of dip that we've seen and the recovery that is underway. So on a positional basis, 525, 530 are the zones where you want to place your stop loss. On the upside, you could be looking at a 625 and a 675 also in the coming weeks, coming months time. So the stock is on the recovery path, offers a good risk-reward ratio. So with a tight stop loss at 530, you might want to consider going long on Paytm. But if the stop loss is broken out, please exit. As far as Zomato goes, I think here fundamentals, technicals do align. Right now the stock is consolidating, but on the whole, any kind of dip that you get towards, let's say, the 240 mark, where there is a gap, should be taken as an opportunity to go ahead and accumulate some more.
Okay, one last query before we let you go. Chetan is holding around 100 shares of Narayana Hrudayalaya, and he bought it at 1270 a piece, and he needs your suggestion from a short-term perspective. Kush, your opinion, how does Narayana Hrudayalaya look on charts?
Continue to hold. There is a lot of traction in the entire healthcare space, hospitals included. The stock has seen a very good rebound in the last 2 days. So, he's now seeing his buying price. You don't want to buy and sell at your, buy price, right? So continue to hold. 1240, place a strict stop loss there. On the upside now, you're looking at a target of 1310, and once that is taken out, perhaps even a 1350 as well. So Narayana Hrudayalaya, hold, and as I said, keep a strict stop loss at 1240.
Okay, thank you so much, Kush, as well as Shahina, for joining us, breaking down some of those views and answering all of the questions that our viewers had. Viewers, apologies if we've not been able to take all of your questions. Please do write to us tomorrow. We'll try to take some of your queries tomorrow as well. But with that, completely out of time on this edition of the show, from Mahima, myself, everyone who puts the show together, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned to NDTV Profit. More action on the other side.